picture myself. I like going to graveyards too. It's one of the nicest places to walk, and because we are actually part of nature, aren't we? Yeah, part of it. Today, we are in the ceaseless creative universe, all of us here. And all month we have been talking about spiritual in nature. You can always look up a talk if you missed it on the website. Sometimes they don't always get videos, but there's always at least an audio. So far, we've talked in May about the unity understanding of the nature of God and the nature of humans. And in the language of some modern-day mystics, we define the nature of God by naming the ineffable, indescribable, as the infinite nonlinear field of consciousness and as pure source. And the nature of humans as being of the same essence as the divine. I'm hearing some Sunday school piano, which is fine with me. I just had to say it. If it bothers anyone, feel free to go and tell them, but it's okay with me. So the first week, I was really into Earth is our home. How we view the Earth depends on the consciousness level we have, just like how we view everything, you know. Our experience has to do with our level of consciousness. You know, that's the good news and the bad news. And last week, I was talking about our spiritual walk, how our spiritual walk is our natural walk. It's the same thing. And I looked at the unity principle of put truth first, or in other words, don't let your ego say no to what your spirit says yes to. Always a good thing to remember. I talked about transcendentalism and Henry David Thoreau. Here's a beautiful thing he said. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. Transcendentalism really is our unity roots, and Transcendentalism combined romanticism with reform. Celebrated the individual rather than the masses, emotion rather than reason, nature rather than man, and noting there's two ways of knowing, senses and intuition, matter and spirit. But in Transcendentalism, the reality of spirit transcends the reality of matter. And the other interesting thing about Transcendentalism, which is so clearly in our unity unfolding of truth, as taught by Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, who were the co-founders of Unity, is that Transcendentalism was big about reform, you know, reform for everybody, but their position was start with yourself. Okay? Start with your own self, reform yourself, and then the community will reform as we reform, or as we make ourselves better. Instead of reform, we might say ascend or work on ourselves, improve ourselves. Now, I wrote some questions that I want us all to think about. I posted them on Facebook, and I'll read them here. I don't actually have them printed out, but you can go to our Unity Des Moines Facebook. But I'm just going to ask these to you. So as I'm asking, just think about, file them in your brain for things I might want to think about. What is your spiritual connection to the natural world? You know, Melissa really gave us an interesting, inspirational interval all about that. What is your spiritual connection to the natural world? How has your soul been stirred in nature? How can you look at the interdependence in the natural world and see that spiritually? What have you learned from wildlife? What is the legacy you will leave the earth? So we're going to create a ceremony today. And let me say this about ceremonies. Ceremonies are outward expressions of inward spiritual experience. We create this one together to connect and amplify our frequency. And we are just more powerful together. And here's the reason for rituals and ceremonies. It's to connect to the part of us that is in all of us that relates to when we related to each other in a tribal way, when the universe was magical, when we went to see a shaman or a spiritual teacher before there were doctors, things like that. And the other reason for this is because it bypasses our brain and gets us in touch with intuition. It's because as we keep exploring, there's different ways to connect to spirit. There are many people whose way of connecting to spirit is through their mind. And unity attracts a lot of people who are attracted to spirit through their mind because we actually try to make sense of the universe. We explore things. We don't just accept the fundamentalist view, okay, of Christianity or any religion. So a lot of people are attracted to unity because of their mind. And then there's a whole other faction of people who are attracted to unity because it also seems a little bit, okay, I'm going to use this word, but just after I say it, forget it, woo-woo. Okay? There's a whole lot of people who are attracted to unity because of that other part, And it's interesting because it seems as if those two parts are such a dichotomy. But I don't know about you, I have actually both of them. I want the universe to make sense. And I like a little woo-woo in my life. So we're going to create this ritual, and here's the instruction. If you brought something from nature, great. If you didn't, I have some things on the back table that represent nature. I brought my little meditating turtle here, who is representing being mindful in the natural world to me, and also being really old and wise and slow and steady and all that. So just this, what I want y'all to do is go get your piece of nature from the back if you don't have one. We're lucky enough to have musical accompaniment. And then as you get something, please bring up the thing, arrange it on the table, and then I'll tell you part two while I am going to try to light this candle. So now, remember this. We're using matter in the natural world to reflect and express an inner truth. And since it is an inner truth, it is your truth. The earth is our home. How we live in this home depends on the consciousness that we operate from. So in your mind's eye, think of the natural object you chose. And if you already forgot what it is, go get another one. Think of it in your mind's eye. This object has something to tell you. Think about this particular item. I'm going to think about the turtle. Somebody might be thinking about a feather, a rock, a shell, a whirly leaf from a whirly bird from a maple, an orange, a snowflake. What does this item have to tell you? Okay. How are you like this item? I am like a feather, a turtle, an orange, because what does this piece of the natural world want to tell me? What does this piece of the natural world want me to tell the rest of the world? So the next part is this. Write something down or tell someone. Use your intuition to see if the person sitting by you wants to listen or talk. You know, use your intuition. Write something down that you thought about it, or tell somebody something. Or just contemplate. Use your intuition now to see if you want to share something with all of us. Maybe something you wrote or something somebody told you. Maybe nobody, maybe somebody.
I put a crystal up there, and this is how it's like me. Smooth, strong, beautiful of nature, for adornment, full of color, tactile.
Thanks. Use your intuition, see if anybody else has anything they want to say about something they thought, something they said. Oh, you didn't. Okay. So Liz said that she sees feathers. She likes to collect owl feathers, and she sees owls everywhere, and they're all-knowing and all-wise, all-seeing. So all-knowing, all-wise, all-seeing. You do, because then you'll be on recorded.
Oh, I want to be recorded. Okay, I picked a seashell because I lived in Hawaii for many years. I'm going back. I have a flight July 25th, and I'll be back there, and I miss the ocean so much, and the seashells, what drew me to the collection there.
I see there's a whole bunch of snowflakes being made at the back table. Which reminds me that all of it, all of nature is here for us. The sun and the snow, the sweet, beautiful scent of flowers, and the pollen that gets in there, right? My eyes are a little bit runny in Iowa in the summer. Which brings us to the last part of our ritual. It's the gratitude meditation. All you have to do is close your eyes for a little bit. And just listen. Go ahead and feel gratitude well up inside your heart and overflow. Let my words speak as your words. I am grateful for the earth. I am grateful for all of it, for the land, the soil, the mountains, the rocks, the smooth places, the sand. The crystals, the oil, everything in the land, the hot lava. I am grateful for the earth, the plants, the miracle of plants. They grow. The beautiful green that we have right now outside. The sweetest green. And they give us oxygen, food, the animals, the miracle of all those different kinds of animals. All the wild, all the living kingdom, on the land, in the sky, in the sea, in the soil, everywhere. I am grateful for the earth, for the sky, miracle of all the weather, all of it, sun, snow, wintry mix, all of it. I'm grateful for the earth, the water, rivers, rain, lakes, oceans, water that keeps me alive, that I drink. I am grateful for the water and the sun. I am grateful for all of it. And in my gratitude, I am now choosing to align myself to the indwelling Christ. I am now choosing to align my vibration to the creative source, to the inner light, to the God within, to become manifested in my full realization of myself as an aspect of the Creator embodied in love. In my gratitude, I now choose to love the earth, my home, and take care of it for all of us here now and here to come. In my gratitude, I now choose to enjoy the rest of this day and everything outside. Amen. Let's take an offering for unity. I invite you to take your gift in your hand, your credit card donation here. It's invisible.